Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Fountain Pen Focus Day. I love doing these fountain pen focus videos. Today, I'm going to focus on this, the TWSBI Diamond 580. I really like this pen. Nice pen, enjoyable to use. And although not the cheapest in the TWSBI range, I think it's really well priced. So join me now down on the mat. Let's take a look at the pen, do some size comparisons, some weights and measures, a writing sample, then I'll give you my thoughts and my scores for this pen. Welcome down to the mat. Here we've got the pen. This is the TWSBI Diamond 580. Transparent, so there's no colour in this. We'll do a quick walk around the body. We start at the top here. We've got the TWSBI logo. I like the way this is set. It looks like it's in a little gem, so we've got this plastic covering over it. I always enjoy that. If we come down into the cap, so we've got this silver coloured here at the top. Then we come down to the clip. The clip's on its own separate ring. The clip is nice and springy. Let me just show you that. There we go. It's a nice shape, nice chunky shape, and it seems to bend as it goes down the pen. The actual cap itself seems to be fairly straight. There may be a slight taper. It's hard to see if there is though. We come on down, and here we've got TWSBI. As I spin that around, the back, Diamond 580, and then Taiwan in little letters just here at the bottom. Then we go back to the front with TWSBI. From the cap, we come and there's a very noticeable drop off from the bottom of the metal strip down to the body. You can really feel that. We then come into the body. The body, it's the same width, although the body is actually faceted. I'm not sure if I can get this to show on the camera there. Maybe that's going to come through. There's one facet, there's another. So as I turn the pen around, we can see some of the facets on here. I've got to be honest, that does add not only to the visual impact of this pen, but you can feel it when you're holding it in the body here. You can feel the facets. It gives that nice tactileness to it. This is a piston filler, so then we've got the piston mechanism. The mechanism on this pen, I would say, takes up about a third, maybe moving towards half of the body. So yes, that's lost ink capacity, but I find this holds enough ink to last me a month. Top, we've got here the piston filling mechanism, and that's just plain transparent all the way through. I've got a nice dark ink in here. We'll look at the ink when we do the writing sample, but you can just about see that sloshing around. I've only filled this recently. All in all though, I think it's a nice looking pen. Let's take off the cap. That comes off in half, about 1 1/4 turns, not too bad there. And although we could see it through the cap, we then reveal this TWSBI nib. Now I believe the nib is made from them by Yoho. So looking at the nib, it's all one colour, it's all like a silvery colour. At the top we've got a little bit of a decorative border, got the breather hole, TWSBI logo, the word TWSBI, and below that we've got B. This is a broad nibbed pen. One of the things that I like here with the 580, it's very easy to replace the nib unit. When I got this pen, it actually had a fine nib on it, and I ordered a nib unit. So here's the nib unit that I took out, and it literally just screws in and out. So it's dead easy to change that nib. I think you may also be able to change the nib on the actual unit itself. I'm not sure, I haven't tried that. But I find that this, by being able to buy these nib units, it's an easy way to use the same body. Just put different nibs in it and just try different things. Just straighten this up a little bit. I keep knocking it off centre. So from the nib, we come into the section. The section does look quite thin, and it feels thin when I'm using it, but not uncomfortably so. It's nice, it's easy to use. My fingers, they sit nicely near the bottom of the pen. I hold my pens down near the bottom. We've got this little metal band here, and my fingers sit nicely on there, so it's not uncomfortable. I can write with this for a long time. It doesn't ever get uncomfortable. The section, I say, it's also transparent. I like this, so you can actually see what's going on inside the feed, which I think also looks really nice. pop the pen back together. What I'm going to do, I'm going to fetch in some size comparisons. First size comparisons, 2 standard pens, got a Pilot Metropolitan and a Lamy Safari. Let's take the caps off. Here we are uncapped. The TWSBI definitely longer than both of these. Let's try them posted. Posted, this is where we get a slightly different story. If we look here at the TWSBI, it will post, sort of, but it posts just on the end of the piston knob. And I really do worry that I'm going to end up twisting that piston as I'm trying to take the cap off. Plus, it does feel quite tight at times. What I do find, though, is unposted, this pen is fairly comfortable. So we won't look at any more posted comparisons, but I just wanted to show you that. So be aware if trying to post this pen. Let's swap this over and we'll fetch in some pens in roughly the same price range. The pens I brought in, Moonman M800, this comes with the Bock nib unit, 66 Australian dollars. When I bought it, the TWSBI Diamond 580 was 72 Australian dollars. I do believe the price has gone up since then though. And then I've also brought in a Lamy AL Star, that was 75 Australian dollars. Plus I had to pay extra for a converter for the AL Star. So that was another $10 on top. The Moonman and the Lamy, both cartridge converters, whereas with the TWSBI, that's the piston filler. Let's pop the caps on. Now, I know you didn't see me putting the caps on, but the Moonman and the TWSBI, they're both screw-on caps. The Lamy, that's a snap-on. But when we've got the cap on, they're about the same size. They're all really comfortable pens to use. They're all pens I actually enjoy using. Let's get these out of the way and we'll fetch in the rule of measuring. Here we've got the rule of measuring. So we'll fetch the pen in. That comes in at 14.2 centimetres. Unposted, we're coming at 12.9. I will show you it posted, but I really truly do not recommend using this posted. We're talking there about 18 centimetres, so quite a long pen when it's posted. Remember, doesn't post very nicely at all. The widths of the pen. When we look at the width of the body, that's 1.28 centimetres. The cap is 1.43 centimetres. Then the section, it goes from 0.95 centimetres here at the narrowest part, and it goes up to 1.06, so not a big change there. Let's get this one out of the way and fetch in the scales of weighing. Here we've got the scales of weighing. The total pen, remember this is full of ink, 28 grams. Cap alone, 12 grams. The body, 15 grams. Not an overly heavy pen, but you know it's in your hand, you can feel it. It's really nice. It's a pen I enjoy using. Let's get this out of the way and fetch in the notepad of testing. Here we've got the notepad of testing. This is Ayush paper, 100 GSM paper, made in India, and it's really nice. It's fountain pen friendly. It's a really enjoyable paper. It's got a nice bit of texture to it as well. Let's do some writing. So we have here a TWSBI Diamond 580. Broad nib. As I've already said, 72 Aussie dollars when I bought it. The ink is by Diamond and it's Winter Spice. So although it may look it, this is not a black ink. This is a really dark brown ink. Now I'm not sure how well it'll come over on this paper. I have got some Tomoe River paper to show you. But the background of the colour is this gorgeous brown. Then there's like a green sheen, but there's also a blue shimmer in it. And I'm hoping it might all come through on here. I can't see much at the moment. Let's do our drying tests. So we go immediate. Not overly wet combo by the look of it. 10 seconds. Doesn't seem to have changed much. 30 seconds. 1 minute. After a minute, still smudging a fair bit, I'm going to do a 2-minute test. After 2 minutes, now we're nice and dry. I'm going to move the mic down to the paper so you can hear the pen writing. I enjoy writing with this pen. There's a definite feedback and it feels a little bit like the nib. It drags slightly on the paper, which I actually quite like. I like the tactile nature of that. Let's look for some line variation. So this is with no pressure. This is with added pressure. So we can see there, we do get a slightly wider line. Then do some S's. Do a bit of railroading where I'm putting the pressure on. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go, that's with no pressure. Then this one's got some pressure, no pressure, with pressure, no pressure, and with pressure. Now, as you can see, I'm running out of ink. I think that's partly to do with the shimmer in here. First time it's run out of ink on me when I've been writing. And it always has to happen, doesn't it, when I'm in the middle of filming. I've agitated the pen. Let's see if we can get a little bit of... There we go. It's flown across the page now. So as with anything, it decides not to work when you really want it to. But in a way, it's actually been good because you can already see on here, we've got the sheen coming through where I'd agitated it. So that's one thing I do need to remember because of the shimmer. I do need to agitate the pen a bit more to help with the flow. And also really to fetch out the character of the ink. So what are my thoughts and scores on this? So let's fetch the pen in. We'll start with pen looks. I love the way this pen looks. I love that it's transparent. I really enjoy transparent pens. I do like some of the more fancy pens as well, but it's the demonstrated nature of a pen that I really enjoy, seeing the ink inside. I know there's so much ink in here, it's hard to see it sloshing around, but in another week or so after I've used a lot of this, I'll see the ink moving around in there, and I always enjoy that. I like this faceting on the body. This is where it beats the Eco. The Eco is just like a round tube, whereas here with that faceting, just adds that little bit of interest. I'd love to see some faceting on the cap as well. The cap's just plain at the moment. I think this is a very understated pen. I really do, really enjoy it. So for pen looks, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Build quality. I'll say I've got no issues. I'm going to whinge a little bit because of the way it posts. To me, posting onto that end cap is plain stupid because that's how accidents happen. That's how you end up with ink all over the place. And especially knowing clumsy Gary, it would be when I'm somewhere where it ends up on the carpet or something like that and I embarrass myself terribly. But other than that, the build quality is really good. We've got in here, it looks like an inner liner. So as I close it, it closes up against that. And that does give a nice seal. So normally I can leave this, even a couple of months, pick it up and it will start writing. So for build quality, what I'm going to do is give this an 8 out of 10. Writing experience. Well, we had a little bit of a hiccup, didn't we? I said that is completely down to me. I didn't agitate it enough to get that shimmer moving around. It's nice. On this paper with this little bit of texture to it, it's really nice and tactile. It's really enjoyable. You can see the ink there at the top, not really seeing much in the way of that sheen. But look at this shimmer down here, this gorgeous blue coming out after I'd given it a really good shake. You can see a little bit there on that middle there in the S's. For fetching 52 GSM Tomoe River paper, this is my Galen leather notebook. So 518 Winter Spice. But if I can get this so it catches light, just look at all that blue shimmer coming through. And I see hints of green sheen as well. That's really nice. I can see why it's called Winter Spice. To me, when I'm looking at this, I can see myself walking through a forest in the winter. You know, this is the dark brown that I expect to see when I'm looking at trees with the bits of moss in it, so you get like hints of green coming through. And then the spice part, and you coming through. Once we get down here where we're getting this blue shimmer, that really fetches life to this ink. I think it looks really nice, and it's a lovely combo. So for writing experience, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Ink flow, the mark I'm giving it is the mark that I started the recording with. So I do my thoughts and my scores before I record the video. Up till this little bit of an issue here, I've not had any issues with this pen. The ink flows really well. I say it is totally my fault, because once I'd agitated it enough, got that shimmer moving, it flowed really nicely. Even here on the Grumpy Wizards, I know I'm going back to the previous one, we're seeing some of that blue coming through. I really enjoy using this. Sorry, I should come back on track really, shouldn't I? So ink flow, yep, keeps it well, had no issues apart from here. 9 out of 10. Comfort, nice and comfortable to use. Fits well in my hand. Don't even think about posting it. The section size, it's alright, it's nice, but could do with being just a little bit on the wider side. But I'm being extremely picky with that. For comfort, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Value for money. Well, it's not as cheap as the Eco. You know, the Eco is what it says. It's a good utilitarian pen. It's a good pen as a starter. This is a good second pen. I think it's nice. It's a little bit more money. You can feel the quality. It's a little bit better quality. There is a noticeable difference. But is it worth the $72? I really do think it is. I think $72 is quite a steal for it. And even if the price has gone up, the new price is really good value. I've only got the 158. Main reason I haven't bought any more, as you've already seen, I can swap the nib units over, so I've just bought additional nib units. So I use the same body and I can have whatever nib I want on there. I think that flexibility is really nice. Value for money, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. So that gives a total score for the TWSBI Diamond 580 with Diamine Winter Spice of 8.5 out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Have you got one of these pens? Have you got one of these Diamond 580s? What are your thoughts on it? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Well, it just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.